Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Natalie
This meeting
Glum,
is being recorded.
and this meeting is being recorded. And I work at United Way of Dane County. Thank you all for joining us today. This is our seventh Lunch and Learned that has been newly established for this year's Partners in Giving campaign. And again, we're so glad that you could join us today for this really important topic of environment. Also, we're glad that you can join us since Partners in Giving is celebrating 50 years of caring this year, and your support is so appreciated. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. If you could please make sure your microphone's muted during the presentations, that would be helpful. And there should be time at the end. We do have three presenters today, but there should be time at the end for the question and answer. And you can either raise your hand or use the chat for that. Again, we do have three presenters. So on to today's session. Again, this session is focused on environment. And our first presenter is Heidi Habegger. She's the Director of Major and Planned Gifts for Groundswell Conservancy. Our second presenter is Jen Filipiak. I hope I did that right. The Executive Director for the Driftless Area Land Conservancy. And then our last presenter is Aaron Flasher. He's the Managing Director of Corporate and Foundation Partnerships, Action Against Hunger. And now with that, we're just going to go ahead and get going. So Heidi, off to you.
Thank you, Natalie. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for everyone. Okay. Everyone can see that okay? Yes, as Natalie said, my name is Heidi Habegger. I'm the Director of Major and Planned Gifts at Groundswell Conservancy. And I want to thank everyone today on behalf of all the charities in the campaign for supporting this event today. In case you have not heard of us, Groundswell Conservancy, we are a local community-based nonprofit in Madison, and we are a Federation partner of Earthshare. And I don't know how many years we've been a partner of Earthshare, but I feel like it's been maybe at least 7 years or so. And our mission is to protect special places forever. We envision a world filled with green places where communities thrive. We believe that land is essential for all people's physical, emotional, and spiritual wellness. We believe that all people should be able to enjoy equitable access to the benefits of land and nature. If we don't protect undeveloped land now, it may be lost forever. We are a land trust, and there are approximately 50 or so land trusts throughout Wisconsin. We specifically focus on Dane County and the 7 surrounding counties. And our supporters and partners have helped us protect more than 13,000 acres of cherished local lands in this South Central Wisconsin region. Places like Cherokee Marsh, Black Earth Creek Valley, the Wisconsin River, the town of Dunn, Lodi Marsh, Avon Bottoms, and French Creek, to name a few, perhaps some places that you've actually been able to visit yourselves. And it all started approximately 40 years ago, actually, next year that we were founded. It all started with some land that came up for our sale on the shores of Lake Mendota. We were then formed by a group of concerned citizens. The University of Wisconsin and the city of Madison even got involved. And we were initially founded as what was called the Natural Heritage Dane County Natural Heritage Foundation. Woo, that's a mouthful. And that was back in 1983 to protect Wally Bauman Woods, which is now a part of the UW Lakeshore Nature Preserve. And so we are facing so many different environmental issues right now, from our climate changing to farmland disappearing to development pressures, not everyone having good access to land, wildlife habitat disappearing, people losing their connections to the outdoors. So Groundswell and our supporters and landowners, partners and volunteers, we're all working to address these 6 issues. Acre by acre, we feel like we're getting results. So starting with connecting people with nature. We host field trips to get people out on the land. And we have 2 nature preserves, Patrick Marsh, which is on the doorsteps of Sun Prairie, and Westport Prairie, which is east of Wanakee, which are open to the public. We provide equitable access to land through our 2 community farms. At Paisley Swan Creek Farm, we've partnered with Robert Pierce of Neighborhood Food Solutions, which is partnered here, or shown here. His 2 programs work with youth and people recently out of incarceration, teaching them about urban agriculture. And then at our Westport Farm, we lease land to Hmong growers, and we have partnered with the Southeast Asian Healing Center to create a Lifting Hearts Therapy Garden for Hmong elders that are suffering from PTSD in the Vietnam War. The third issue we're addressing working on is creating green schoolyards. And we have partnered with our Madison's Community Schools on this work. Pictured here is Lakeview Elementary School, where we helped purchase land to expand their outdoor classroom. And we built a nature course on that same land. And then we're also working with Mendota Elementary, another Madison Community School on the north side, to also improve their outdoor classroom. The fourth issue we're addressing is acting on climate crisis, and we're working on this by protecting our wetlands. Wetlands act like a filtering sponge to help reduce flooding, and they also capture and store carbon. This photo is of a recent acquisition of 40 acres of wetlands that we purchased along Lower Mud Lake. Wisconsin has already lost 50% of our original wetlands, and we feel like we just can't afford to lose any more. The issue we're addressing is conserving wildlife habitat. You know, we're all part of the same ecosystems with plants and animals, and we all need undeveloped land to thrive. So pictured here is our Patrick Marsh Preserve on the doorsteps of Sun Prairie, where we work with the DNR to manage and restore this land. And then also at our Westport Prairie Preserve, east of Wanakee, we're restoring out there hundreds of acres of land to prairie.
Actually, I really enjoyed it.
And then lastly, we are working to keep farmland. Dane County is surrounded by many, or I shouldn't say is surrounded, is home to some of the richest soils in the United States. And we are working with private landowners, with farmers, to protect their land and soils using a special conservation tool called a conservation easement. And we have partnered with the town of Dunn, the town of Windsor, and the town of Dunkirk on land protection programs on purchase of development rights. You know, at the end of the day, we say that we are in the business of relationship building. Building relationships with landowners, with partners, with local government and supporters. You know, it takes all of us to address these important issues. And we're so lucky to have so many partners. And just to name a few are Operation Fresh Start, Neighborhood Food Solutions, the town of Dunn, Dane County, and Patrick Marsh Middle School. So I hope I've inspired you today to want to get involved with Groundswell and protecting our special places. Certainly one role you can play is as a financial supporter of this work, and another is as an outdoor volunteer. We host monthly outdoor volunteering events at both our Patrick Marsh and our Westport Prairie Preserve. No tools or experience are needed. You can sign up on our website or just contact us directly for more information. So thank you for this opportunity, everyone, today, for taking the time out of your busy workday to join us and learn about more about Groundswell Conservancy. And I hope you will want to help us protect our irreplaceable landscape.
Heidi, thank you so much. I know Jen is next, but we are getting some feedback. So if I could just remind everybody to make sure that your microphones are muted, that would be great. Jen, I'm going to take it over to you.
Great, thank you. Yeah, here we go, sharing my screen. Moving west from where Heidi was just speaking of, we are Driftless Area Land Conservancy. We are also a land trust, and we cover the area basically west of Groundswell, almost all the way to the Mississippi River. So I'm happy to be on the call with Heidi as well, because we work together on a lot of conservation projects. And I wanted to also start by thanking everyone for hosting and supporting this event, and for allowing me a few minutes to talk about Driftless Area Land Conservancy. So our mission is to maintain and enhance the health, diversity, and beauty of Southwest Wisconsin's natural and agricultural landscape. And we do this through land protection and restoration and connecting people to the land and each other. But first, let's see, it is not, there we go. But first, fun facts, in case you don't know what driftless means. We are in Southwest Wisconsin. If you can see the little upper left photo there, it's pointing to the driftless area of Wisconsin. And what this is, these 4 pictures are showing you the various glacial events that have happened over the millennia. They show you the direction the glaciers advanced. And then they're also showing you that our little corner of Wisconsin never had a glacier. So as glaciers advance, they smooth out the landscape, gathered up materials, soil, rocks, boulders, and then when they receded back again, they again caused great change across the landscape, left a lot of that rock material behind, that silt, everything that they had gathered up. And all that stuff is called drift. That's what geologists call drift. So our part of Wisconsin is driftless, hence the name Driftless Area Land Conservancy. As a result, we see the landscape in Southwest Wisconsin is full of beautiful rolling hills and valleys, really dramatic rock escarpments, and trout streams. We don't have a lot of wetlands. We don't have a lot of flat ground here, and that's all a result of our geological history. So the bread and butter of our work is land protection and land restoration. And we've been around a little, not quite as long as Groundswell. We've been around since the year 2000. And we've protected about 8,000 acres of land from development. And when we say land protection, it's usually through a conservation easement. And I won't go too much into details on easements, except to say that these are voluntary agreements that are usually initiated by the landowner. They come to us and say, I want to protect my land from development. And why these lands are protected, there's a lot of different reasons. Easements are very tailored to the individual property and the landowner who's donating the easement. And so just showing you 3 pictures of 3 very different easements. The one all the way on the left as you're facing the screen, it's protecting a really rare habitat called a pine relic, and it's also protecting a corridor. This landowner wanted to share her land with the public, and so part of her land is going to become the Driftless Trail. So that's the reason that she wanted to put an easement on her land. The landowner in the middle wants to protect his land for farmland. He wants to see it continue to grow food and not houses. And also the beautiful view shed, the scenic landscape in this area too. This is right across the highway from Taliesin, which is Frank Lloyd Wright's magnificent estate near Spring Green. And then finally, another example, this landowner wants to protect the Class 1 trout stream that runs right through his pasture. And so again, he just wants to protect it from development, but he still wants to farm it. And his cattle, he runs a grass-fed beef operation. And through careful and pretty progressive techniques with rotational grazing, he's actually having a really successful farm business right next to a Class 1 trout stream. So it's possible, and he wanted to demonstrate that as well. Moving on to land restoration and management, we talk about land restoration. It's thinking about it as we want to restore the land back to health and manage it for biodiversity and recreation. Really, it's land care. We want to care for this land. And we hope to inspire others to care for the diversity of life on their own land. So we have lots of workshops, volunteer opportunities. One example is a chainsaw training series that we do every year. So landowners can learn how to safely operate the chainsaw that most of them actually have if they own a lot of land in the Driftless area. 97% of our area is privately owned. So we can't do it all. It's really important that landowners care for their land as well. And I should say we also have about 600 acres of land that we own and manage and care for ourselves. Those are in 4 preserves that are open to the public. And then, connecting people and nature, connecting people to nature, but also to each other through nature. So we do lots of different events every year. And currently we're engaging about 200 people a year in our events. And they range from things like getting to watch the sandhill cranes land on the Wisconsin River during their migration. Thousands and thousands of cranes flock to the river every evening for a couple weeks in November. Hosting kids and families out for pollinator work days, and then you see a proud volunteer crew here in the bottom right. And then the Driftless Trail is a big multi-decade vision that we have, and it really brings all the parts of our mission together. So I wanted to highlight that as a final thing. We want to permanently protect corridors of private land that connect Tower Hill State Park, which is up on the Wisconsin River by Spring Green, down to Governor Dodge State Park, which is in Dodgeville or north of Dodgeville, and then over to Blue Mound State Park in Mount Horeb, and then back up to Tower Hill. So the idea is that we'd have about a 50-mile walking path of permanently protected land, working only with willing landowners who want to share their land and share the driftless landscape with the public. It provides the public access to land in an area where we don't have a lot of access to land. It's connecting these big parts of already protected public lands together through habitat corridors. So it's a climate resilience idea as well. It allows for species migration, genetic migration as the climate changes. And it also connects people to the natural and agricultural landscape of the driftless area. And so we've just started building this. This is one picture of part of the Driftless Trail, and you can learn a lot more about where it's being built. And as sections open up, we have 5 miles started, and our goal for the next 5 years is to complete the section between Tower Hill and Governor Dodge State Park. So when I say we, I mean the DELC staff, of course, and our board of directors, but also our donors. We do this with all of you, and that's how we make this all work. So more information can be found at our website. The link is there. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jen. And we do have Aaron who's going to be presenting next. So take it away, Aaron.
Great, thanks, Natalie. Hi, everyone. My name is Aaron Flasher. I'm the Managing Director of Corporate and Foundation Partnerships for Action Against Hunger. And I have a video, but it hasn't been playing too well. So I'm going to give it a shot, but if it doesn't play or skips, I will just jump back in. So just bear with me one moment. Oh, and if you want to turn down your volume a little bit, the beginning is just a little bit loud.
Hey, Aaron, we actually can't hear the volume on it. I have it up on my screen. I can try sharing it for you.
All right, try to give it one shot, and if not, I'll
Okay.
just talk through it.
1 second.
I don't think it's playing the sound.
Okay.
That's okay. So let me pull up my deck real quick and then I'll get started. Great, can everyone see that? Cool. So as I mentioned, my name is Aaron Flasher. I'm the Managing Director of Corporate and Foundation Partnerships for Action Against Hunger. And the video I was going to show you was actually from one of our programs in South Sudan. It would highlight a community that's been impacted by flooding, largely due to climate change for 3 consecutive years. And so one of the things that one of our interventions was to encourage a crop rotation or crop switching to rice, which actually was not a current cash crop within the community. They were primarily focused on sorghum and maize. And the advantage of switching to rice was that it's more resilient and can exist within heavy water systems. So this is sort of an example of our work and how it intersects in the space of climate change. So for those who are unfamiliar with us, I always describe us as we're the best nutrition charity you've probably never heard of. We don't spend enough on marketing and tech, hence the video. But we are the largest international NGO that's focused on hunger. There are others that work in this space, but for us, this is our area of expertise, and we've been doing it for over 40 years. We're part of a global network, and we're currently in around 50 countries, and we served nearly 25 million people last year with our programs. But to give you a sense of the scope or the size of the problem, there's currently around 820 million people in the world that are food insecure. So even though we did a lot and got to 25 million, there's still a long way to go. So what kind of separates us, or what sort of makes us, I think, unique in this space, is our programs are highly effective. When we reach someone who's suffering from malnutrition, they recover over 90% of the time, which is excellent. Our issue is just getting to everyone that needs us. And so one thing I think that makes us unique is that we have access and can target some of the most hardest to reach, most food insecure communities in the world, which can mean communities in conflict zones, communities impacted by global or man-made disasters, and communities at the forefront of climate change. And we're able to do that because over 95% of our staff are actually from the communities they serve. And that gives us the buy-in and the access that a lot of other nonprofits don't have. And then lastly, just a note about efficiency. We're one of the most efficient charities you'll find. Again, back to the dig on, we don't spend enough on marketing. 91% of every dollar we raise goes directly to our programs. And if you look us up, we have had a 4-star Charity Navigator rating for the 16 years in a row running. So what we're most known for is providing emergency nutrition support. So what that actually means in practice is fortified foods, so like therapeutic milks, therapeutic pastes, or if you look at this photo, a child's eating plumpy nut, which is a form of therapeutic commodities. And what it really is like a fortified peanut butter that's easy on the stomach. If you've been suffering from severe malnutrition, you probably can't eat regular food anymore. It's also adaptable. The recipe can be changed to meet local customs and norms, and it's highly portable. So it's something, again, we can get in the hands of someone very easily. And as I mentioned earlier, we have over a 90% cure rate if we can just reach people in time. The other programs that we are also known for is a lot of the communities we serve are also water insecure. So we provide clean water access through the drilling of boreholes, improved sanitation, or in cases of emergency, actually trucking in potable water. And then lastly, we provide food security improvements. So kind of related to what my colleagues shared, we do it sort of locally, but in other countries, we work with smallholder farmers to improve land quality, increase crop yields, and increase food diversity within the communities we serve. So specifically, and kind of how my world sort of intersects with climate change, I'm tasked with raising money for our East Africa programs, which some of you may be aware of, is experiencing one of the worst droughts in history. And by worst, I mean generationally bad. The Horn in particular has faced 4 years of failed rains, and all intents and purposes, all indicators currently are that we're looking at a 5th. And in Somalia, Kenya, and Ethiopia alone, we're looking at 36 million people that are currently food insecure, which is tremendous, huge. No country has declared it yet, but anecdotally, we know that there are conditions of famine on the ground. And another major concern is that we're also seeing large population movements, which means farmers aren't planning for the next year. And so these problems can only get worse. And so beyond providing that emergency nutrition support that I mentioned, just making sure we can keep people alive, we're also working at some of the root causes to make our communities more resilient to climate change. So as what the video would have highlighted, which is sort of crop switching or improved crop resiliency. So looking at other locally available crops, they either are conducive to too much water or less water, or need less fertilizer inputs, but also employing solar power in some of our water interventions. So like solar powered irrigation systems, solar powered boreholes, with the intention of that one day we wouldn't need to be there and that communities would be self-resilient. And then lastly, we've been employing numerous pilots around smart technologies, so empowering farmers and local herders to use their own smartphones to upload crop information and livestock and grazing conditions to a global cloud that can be accessed for free by anyone, thus improving crop yields because farmers and herders sort of know what to expect as far as, again, water conditions or where to bring their herds to graze. And so that's just a little bit about what we do. Again, I'm sorry I wasn't able to share the video. But we're Action Against Hunger, and if you're interested in supporting or just learning more, please feel free to reach out to me directly. My information's in the chat, or you can make a donation directly on our site, actionagainsthunger.org. Thanks.
Awesome, wonderful. Erin, Jen, Heidi, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And thank you for what you're doing, providing the impactful services that, you know, we need across the world and locally here in Dane County. It is 11:56. We have 4 minutes for Q&A. If anybody has questions, either type it in the chat or just you can unmute your microphone and ask away. Just gonna give it a little bit. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in the chat. So again, Aaron, oh, wait a minute. Yep, there is no questions, but thank you for the presentations. That's what that's what was put there. Wonderful. Again, Jen, Aaron, Heidi, thank you so much for sharing with us today. You know, conservation and environmental services certainly are so vital to the health of all of our communities and for all of us. So we do need to focus, and we do need these resources. Again, thank you all for attending today's session, and hopefully you can join us next week. Let's see, that would be Tuesday, November 29th, from 12 to 12:30, with the focus being on community improvement. And also just a friendly reminder that donating through Partners in Giving is super easy, and you can choose your charity. There are over 500 and your payment method, which also includes the option for payroll deduction. Again, thank you all so much. Have a beautiful Tuesday and hope to see you next week.
Thank you.